offense.
You've got Wake Forest in the white with the pink trim and Florida State in the all pink. We are underway here in Tallahassee. Glad to have you with us on this Sunday evening on the ACC network. There's your first look inside at tonight. Latson wanting to go, go, go. And that's just as simple as head coach Brooke Reckhoff wants it. You either drive and get a layup or you kick it out. They don't really want to get deep into these shot clocks.
You know, the first 10 seconds are where the Seminoles want to score right away.
Inside, they get their first two of the day for Michaela Timpson. We're going to have a tracker on her all day. She starts the day 11th in scoring in program history. There's a good chance by the end of the day she's in the top 6 or top 7. For 3 at the other end for Wake Forest, no good. Elise Williams battling for it. Latson from deep this time, got it.
No space, you see that rebound, quick dribbles up the floor, and Latson stop and pop for that 3.
So dangerous, so difficult to defend, either on the drive or from deep. Wake Forest wants to keep her in the mid-range game. That's where their analytics say she struggled the most this year in their scout, averaging about 20% in the mid-range.
Yeah, and by struggling, you mean still pretty good
Right.
for Latson.
Travel against Turcoff. Now on the other end, you saw the shot clock there around 13 before it's put up by Wake Forest. That's also by design, and chatting with Megan Gebbia, the head coach, they want to get it to the final third of every shot clock and slow things down.
You know, and talking to Coach Gebbia, they can't keep up with this 90, 80, 100 points for Florida State. So they want to be able to slow it down, get that shot up on the rim in under the 10-second shot clock.
A minute and 20 seconds into this one. It's already Florida State 7-0. Just gives you a sense at how they like to go. Elise Williams trying to guide her way in the lane. Nice dish and fine for Demeara Hinds.
Great take there by Wake Forest, trying to get into the middle of the lane. You'll see that Florida State likes to collapse, but you can find one extra pass for the open shooter.
Latson again fading away, and there's that mid-range. They want her somewhere between the free throw line and the three-point line in that sort of imaginary arc.
Yeah, you call those tough twos right there, as we got a huge defensive stop right there.
Actually called a foul underneath on Michaela Timpson, and that's big because Coach Gebbia really wanted to get her into foul trouble early. They did a couple of years ago when these teams met and Wake Forest beat this Florida State team. The key is getting Timpson into foul trouble.
And Timpson can't believe that one. She's a player that averages over 3 blocks a game. So whenever you see her in the middle of the basket, she's that rim protector and is going to go try to get that block.
It's funny, you saw a little bit of a smirk and laugh there from Turcoff at the line, having some words with Timpson. I think Turcoff might have realized that one wasn't a foul either, but she says, thank you very much, here's 2 free from the line.
Yeah, and she gets at least some points on the board, and she gets her going again like she has been the last 3 games.
Bowles for 3, in and out. Rebounding could be a big difference maker in this one. Got a Florida State team that's among the best in the country, and a Wake Forest team that's near the bottom. Florida State averaging 10 more rebounds per game than Wake Forest this season. Sorby driving on Latson. Sorby, no good. And gets her own miss. Sorby lines it up from 3, no good. Freshman from Norway has been a bright spot for Wake Forest. Gordon from the free throw line has it.
And that's textbook right there. Florida State offense. You're going to push in transition, try to get a shot for yourself. If not, if no one stops you, you kick to a teammate, but no stopping there on the fast break for Gordon.
Here's Turcoff again, coming off 3 straight games in which she set a career high. Sophomore from Tenafly, New Jersey, throws this one away. Brooke Wyckoff wearing the all pink today. Head coach for Florida State. You alluded to it a moment ago. It's really as simple as that. She tried to dress it up for us as they pull again from distance here. Latson trying to get her own miss. Won't. Just get down there, shoot, if not pass. She simplified it. She said that's how she wants her players to think about it, and nothing more than that.
Yeah, it's a mindset. Just take it to the rim. If no one stops you, then you pass. It sounds simple, but sometimes as a player, you're like, wait, should I pull it back? Should I set it up? But no, Florida State's always going to attack.
Battle for the rebound on the baseline, and it's kept in by Malaya Williams. The glue of this Florida State team, Williams. Grad transfer from Cincinnati. Here is Williams, fakes the 3. Bowles in the lane, Bowles up strong, and the foul.
Well, what a move by Bulls. You saw it. It was under 15 seconds on the shot clock. But this is why the Seminoles are so tough. 5-out spacing, do a little in and out crossover and taking it downhill. Anytime the Seminoles get the ball, it is attack mode first and then kick to a teammate.
Bulls, one of the 4 players averaging in double figures for Florida State. Had 11 last game against Boston College. Started now 6 in a row after starting just one of the first 16 games. She's answered the call. And Bulls completes the 3-point play. Reagan Conley, hand off to Elise Williams. Turkoff comes around the screen, no good. Dribbled off the knee by Amaya Bonner. Kick back out in the corner. Bonner back, Bowles, 3, got it. The early hot hand belongs to Sydney Bowles.
And that's her bread and butter, is those 3-point shots.
This is exactly what Wake Forest doesn't want to get into here. Quick dribble down, pull up 3, and back and forth they go. Latson, Bowles, heat check, no good.
A smart play right there by Turkoff to slow it down and run the offense. That's what Florida State wants you to do, is get sped up in those shots. The last 2 threes have been too fast and rush shots for Wake Forest Demons.
Sorby, 10 to shoot, and Turkoff started to cut. Ball out of bounds, possession back to Florida State. Haven't really said much of Demeara Hinds. It's Hinds and Elise Williams. Those are the 2 players Wake Forest wants to have going in tandem, but Coach Gebbia says there's really only been 1 game where they've been on the same page this year. It's a Notre Dame game. They need to keep them both out of foul trouble. They need to keep them both shooting hot. Haven't seen that early on.
They're important foundation for the offense and the defense for Wake Forest, playing together, being able to play that high-low action.
Foul on the floor as Michaela Timpson drove. Timpson with 2 points already. This foul is on the floor. So she needed 4 points to enter the top 10 all time for Florida State, 6 to get to 9th, 11 for 8th, 21 for 7th. So all that's to say, she could do a lot of climbing on the all-time scoring list today, Timpson. There she is. Timpson goes up, and now she's in the top 10.
She just rises up. Such hops right there, getting into the middle of the lane.
Michaela Timpson had dreams of making it to the rafters of this building when she came to Florida State. Now she's officially in the top 10 scorers all time. All Seminoles early over Wake Forest.
The karaoke
Search donate at kyao.com. Great to see the pink everywhere in the arena today. It is Florida State's annual Painted Pink game, and you've got the connection, of course, to the head coach, Brooke Wyckoff. Had her battle last year. Was chatting with her in shoot-around today. She actually said this time last year she was still in treatment, so just means the world to her to see everybody supporting the cause.
And that's one of the things she tells her players all the time is adversity will come at some point, so how are we going to handle it? She almost prepares that mindset ahead with her team and her community.
Williams tries to stop the bleeding out of the timeout, but can't get it to fall. Rebound for Mariana Valenzuela. Maria Gordon now, the other player in this big three for Florida State. Valenzuela makes sure she's behind the line, but can't get the shot to fall.
And that's what Wake Forest wants to do, is get those defensive rebounds. The rebounding battle is going to be huge for them to be able to set their own tempo in this game.
Williams gets baseline, nowhere to go. Cut off of the pass. Coles top to Andrews. 8 to shoot. Turcoff comes out to get it. Carla Villegas guarding Turcoff. 3 to shoot. In traffic here, traveled. Second time she's traveled in this first quarter.
And you saw it right there, coming off of the ball screen, one of the things Florida State loves to do is double team anytime they're coming off of those screens. They just speed you up, that's where you get that travel call. 4
turnovers so far on the Wake Forest side, nothing yet for Florida State. Villegas pulls up from 3 and drains it. She can heat up at any moment. This season, she's second to Latson in three-point field goal percentage for Florida State.
Joe, I was watching her in pregame warm-up sitting here, and she literally knocked off 22 in a row as I was counting. She is just dynamite from behind that 3.
Pull up mid-range, no good. Follow from Andrews, and she finally ends the run. It was a 13-0 run for Florida State.
And you won't see very many offensive rebounds for Wake Forest. They don't want to crash, but that one was good.
Valenzuela, no good. Just so interesting seeing the differences between these two teams. It's rare to see Florida State have the shot clock get below 20. On the other side, it's rare to see anything this early from Wake Forest, but it works this time for Cole's inside.
And Cole's deep positioning in the lane, back to the basket. Excellent spin move there to get the 2 buckets.
Valenzuela, baseline, runs into some trouble. Back to Villegas, tight quarters there, gave it away. Lisa Williams had a big January for Wake Forest. Averaged 13.4 per game last month. Here's Turcoff trying to keep her ways going. Slow to get back up and back up the floor. Keep an eye on Turcoff. Gordon presses. Gordon, acrobatic effort, doesn't go.
Well, if no one stops you, that's what they're going to do, is take it all the way to the rack.
Coach Demeara cannot be happy with this pace right now for Wake Forest. Too fast for her liking. Now slowing it down, Williams. Williams off glass, gets it.
And so far that's working for Wake Forest, is attacking into the middle of the lane, using that middle third because Florida State wants to jump in the passing lanes.
Miss inside from Gordon. Timpson batting it around. Sorby comes away with it.
And like you mentioned earlier, Coach Demeara would love to be able to get a couple of these Florida State players like Timpson into foul trouble, so getting downhill is going to be key for Wake Forest.
Sorby mishandled by Coles. 10 to shoot for Williams. Williams off the double team, kicks it back out to Coles, no good. Rebound inside by Turcoff, going up strong. Looking at the referee, she thought she drew the foul. Gordon comes the other way. Travel, quick step from Amaya Bonner. Right now, Florida State doubling up Wake Forest and doing it without much from their leading scorer, the nation's leading scorer, Tallahassee Latson, but she comes back into the game now. Sorby brings it up for Williams. Williams off target. And it will come the other way for Florida State. Florida State offensively in this one, they just go. And that's been their MO all season. 6 games over 100 points. That's a program record. Leading scorer in terms of a team, leading scorer in terms of the player, and another 2 for that player as she shrugs up the court, Demeara Latson.
Yeah, just a broken play there, but she has such great body control when she gets into the lane at 5'8", can rise up and finish at the rim.
Here's Sorby, under a minute to go in this first quarter. That's gone by in the blink of an eye. That three will help things for Wake Forest. Back to single digits.
And Connolly, the last couple of games for Wake Forest, has hit those long-range jumpers. Sorby getting her head down and kicking it out for that three.
Villegas, all in one motion, takes the three as she catches and releases.
And then she has the answer. Yeah, she catches it kind of up by her head and able to knock it down. That doesn't bring it down by her shoulder like many players do.
It's almost like Papa Shot if you were ever at an arcade. You just grab the ball and get it up as quick as you can. Doesn't matter where she shoots it from, it's probably going down.
Yeah, and that's what players love to do. That means it's a quick release when you don't bring it down to your shoulder or down by your waist. You keep it up by your chin, and that's what she does. It's not a lot of arc on the ball, but that backspin just drains it right down every time she's shooting.
Again, she's combusted a few times this year. Her career high came in a game where she had 18 all on threes. She went 6 for 9 that day from beyond the arc. Second on the team in three-point percentage this season, just behind the nation's leading scorer, Latson. Another turnover cross court for Wake Forest. Florida State can hold for the last possession here, but there's 14 seconds. That's almost too much time for them to have the last possession the way they play.
Yeah, it might be a 2-for-1, honestly. That's as quick as they want to play. But they actually are. This is the first time they've raised their hand and actually calling a play. Look at this horn set right here.
5 to shoot. Latson drives. Latson gets it to go. It is all Florida State in this first quarter, and they lead it by 14 going into the break. Florida State. I'm Joe Malfa. 27-13 lead for Florida State. Dominant first quarter. Could be pushing 50 in this first half, something they've done a few times this season. Nice back cut. Elise Williams at the rack, gets it to fall. Latson. Villegas already hit 2, why not a third?
You see that little line drive, but it's got that backspin. I'm telling you, she is on a heater and was before the game.
Sophomore from Spain, had 9 points last game, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Well, she's 3 of 3 today with 9 points already, matching last game's total.
And what's been working for Wake Forest here is Florida State comes so far out in those passing lanes. The backdoor cuts are trying to get downhill.
Already 3 traveling violations on Wake Forest. They're running into the traffic here defensively. They've put a lot of emphasis defensively, Florida State, because the offense is humming and they don't really have to focus on it. A lot of that focus on the defensive side, and you're seeing it.
Yeah, when you have so much juice on the offensive end, you don't want it to stop defensively. Something that Coach Wyckoff really wanted to implement and bring, and you're seeing it right now here in this game, holding Wake Forest so far, limiting shots and all the way out in the passing lanes.
Williams down to Hinds. Hinds up strong. That's something Coach Jebbia wants to see. The more those two could link up, the better Wake Forest usually fares. Excellent
plays out of the timeout from Coach Jebbia, pounding it into the paint and attacking one-on-one.
Some minutes here off the bench for Hayane dos Santos, the Brazilian. Gave it away underneath. Dos Santos guarding Sorby. Very international matchup there. The Brazilian against the Norwegian. Sorby over to Reagan Conley, back inside. Hinds got it last possession and this one. Keep feeding her.
Hinds, call your number again, and she is so skilled at that left hand. Excellent going over her right shoulder.
And an offensive foul to call. Latson is going around the screen, turned out to be an illegal screen. Malaya Williams called for the foul. Very slow to get up here. Elise Williams.
You'll see Hinds, look at this deep positioning. This is exactly the kind of play that Wake Forest needs in that restricted area. And Hinds, she's only been playing basketball for 5 years, was an elite soccer player in high school. So right now, she is still learning the basketball game, has upped her physicality and upped her skill level.
Turkoff. Now those early free throws, Turkoff, but nothing since. Again, 3 straight games with career highs. Moves it up here for Sorby. 7 to shoot. Sorby driving in traffic to the corner. She kicks it. 2 to shoot. Turkoff drives, has it swatted away. Tanaya Latson wants to go. Latson on the drive. Turnage couldn't get the board for Florida State. Pace picking up again. Reagan Conley wisely slows it down. Hinds backing in. Didn't get the roll that time. Latson up strong, no good. It might look like a bad shot at home coming in wildly, but it's again what Coach Wyckoff encourages. You've got the nation's leading scorer. Just go, 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 go. You're gonna have some that don't fall, some that do fall. This is not great though, having another foul called against Latson.
She can't believe it. She was trying to get that pick your pocket here in the midcourt.
So we'll be doing a lot of the handling here for Wake Forest. Turkoff. Back down low. Reagan Conley trying to back in. Turkoff up top. That's her game. That's the spot that she wants it in.
And possessions like that are how you chip away at this Florida State lead, getting the ball inside and kicking it to your hot shooter in Turkoff.
32% three-point shooter Turkoff, and she grabs the board this time. She's confident right now. Turkoff, 25 last game against a ranked NC State team. Driving force in their historic fourth quarter. That three will help the momentum, and a timeout from Florida State. Similar to that NC State game, they were down a lot. All of a sudden, you look up, they're down 5. They can sneakily put some baskets and some possessions together as well.
Hey, well, basketball is a game of runs, but when you can light it up from the outside, you're always in the game. Turkoff for 3. She has the Demon Deacons back within 5.
Something we talked about with Coach Demeara. Last game, that historic fourth quarter when they dropped 34 on NC State, they were down, felt like they were out. All of a sudden, they were down 5 and it was a game. Same score line here, down 5 again, and an opportunity to maybe go the other way with it here, but a foul called on the floor. So it's a little bit of copy and paste from that fourth quarter, carrying over now from last game.
Yeah, and whatever Coach Demeara said in that huddle and after the first quarter was a lot about execution, because what they did, they got the ball into the paint, got a couple of nice easy looks which opened up the outside, and they've got multiple scores. That's what's they've been playing so well in ACC play. It was all about its people stepping up and being able to put the ball in the basket.
Here's Timpson. She's been quiet in this one for Florida State. Can't get it to fall. It'll stay down here for the Noles. Timpson had those 4 early points. It got her into the top 10 scoring all time for Florida State. Her next bucket will get her to number 9, and so on and so forth. She could have a busy day today climbing the all-time point list, where her head coach is number 17. Gordon, another gift on this possession, and finally they get it to count. Had a couple of opportunities there with the rebounds and the turnover under the basket. Turkoff left all alone. Turkoff, that would have been big for the Demon Deacons. As quickly as it became a 5-point game, now it could start going the other way. Ball back to Florida State.
Look at this little shake and bake over her head with the finish. OMG. That's what they call her here. Myra Gordon with the lay-in. Fancy lay-in.
Gordon averages almost 16 a game, under the radar because of Latson and Timpson. Here is Timpson, and gets a friendly roll. She's now 9th on the all-time scoring list for Florida State.
I'm just so impressed with her rise-up ability when she gets her back to the basket, turn, being able to face. That's going to transcend ACC, national spotlight, all the way into the pros.
Good defensive possession here so far. Bowles cut it off. Back up top for Coles, 10 to shoot. Elise Williams backing in. 6 to shoot. Throws it inside, fading away, off target. Pushing it again. Bonner up top, Gordon. Gordon lets it fly and drains it.
She's feeling it now. She's one of their best defensive players, brings that intensity, that kind of leadership they want for the Seminoles.
7-0 run out of that timeout. What was once a 5-point game is now back up to 12. Williams. Turkoff tracks it down. Turkoff driving the lane, swatted down by Timpson. Turkoff gets it back, 5 to shoot. Up top for 3, no good. And Timpson another board. Driving Gordon. This whole run has basically been the OMG show.
That's right, OMG, another highlight reel, a little shimmy with that left hand.
She started it with that contortion layup under the basket, then the three, now this drive. She has most of this 9-0 run by herself, with Timpson supplying the other two. The cross-court find from Turkov. They need a bucket right now to stop the bleeding. Wake Forest. Gordon again. Gordon kicks it out. Bowles for three, and she's fouled. And will head to the line for 3 free throws.
Kind of a stuff down, volleyball stuff right there for Timpson. That's what she does. And then you see OMG getting downhill with that left hand. And why that's important right now is because this play, she just did that again. A little hesitation, got into the lane, and then kicked it to her teammate. And that's why you got Bowles at the three-point line, because there was a rush closeout.
She misses the first. Not like her 87% free throw shooter. And gets the second one to go. We have women's basketball for you every Sunday on ACC Network and the ESPN app. We're looking ahead at next week's doubleheader, the Commonwealth Clash between Virginia Tech and Virginia. That starts us at noon Eastern. And Anna Hidalgo and number 3 Notre Dame hosts Ioana Kremeli and the number 19 Cal Bears. Another great afternoon of hoops on the ACC Network. Lead is 16 for Florida State. Quickly as Wake Forest cut into the deficit, it ballooned back up. Alyssa Andrews turns it over.
Florida State has picked up the intensity big time on defense. One of the things they love to do is called disrupt. Disrupt the passer's vision. So when you're dribbling the ball, you can't see your teammate if she's open or not. And that's why they've had a couple of turnovers last 2 possessions.
Maya Bonner, that's a offensive foul against Timpson. She's in the spotlight for a negative reason here on the foul, Michaela Timpson, but when she got here at Florida State, Timpson had a goal, and that goal was to have her jersey in the rafters when her time at Florida State came to an end. I can't say for sure if that's going to happen, but she's done a pretty good job of making that case. We mentioned that today she's in the top 10 all-time scoring now. There's her head coach, Brooke Wyckoff, up in the rafters. She's in the top 10 scoring. She has the program's double-double record. She's the leading double-double getter right now in the ACC. She's made a pretty good case here, the senior from Edison, Georgia.
Well, we could have went on and on about Timpson right there, but you know what I loved about her the most is how that she's bumped up every statistical category for herself.
The Bulls bumping up her offensive statistics right now. She's got 11 here, and it's the largest lead, 19 for Florida State. Foul's gonna go against the Noles underneath.
We're gonna see here Bulls. Just a little jab. She gets enough space. She's able to do that. Over the last 5 games, she's shooting 51% from behind that three-point line. She got back into the starting lineup, and it's really made a difference in the impact for Florida State.
Elise Williams, a much-needed bucket to stop a 14-0 run. Bowles a big pickup. Transfer portal. Latson gets it to fall. She's quietly got 9. We really haven't said her name much, but 9 points.
And so tough to defend. You blink, she turns her back, she's rising up and able to hit that 10-foot jumper.
Sorby driving. Sorby never saw the help coming from behind there. Almost blocked by Williams. Contested enough. Latson somehow got it down low. Unorthodox to say the least. And Avery Treadwell unable to hit on the shot. That ball slipped out of Latson's hand. She just slapped at it to get it down low. We'll remain down here for Florida State. Villegas back in. Villegas 3 for 3 from beyond the arc before she subbed out moments ago. See if she keeps shooting and keeps connecting. Latson will head to the line and look to complete the three-point play. She's got 11 on the day. The lead 21 now for Florida State.
My goodness, this happens so fast. Baseline out of bounds. She turns and spins. And you gotta just acknowledge her athleticism. Look at how high she gets on that jumper. She is rising over top of defenders and being able to get that jumper off, something she has perfected in the offseason, wanted to continue to up her game. She says she watches film on Kyrie Irving all the time, trying to match her game, and same with WNBA, wants to play like Jewel Lloyd out here, and it definitely looks like that, Joe.
She's the only Power 4 player on the men's or women's side to be averaging 20 or more points, 4 or more boards, and 4 more assists. That's Power 4, men or women. Only one name, Demeara Latson.
It's so impressive, but when you get to see her play in person right here on screen, you see how she does it, and she does it in the flow of Florida State's offense.
You can't leave her that open, that deep. Latson unable to knock this one down, but she will pull up from anywhere inside of midcourt. Conley just not letting anything easy right now, Florida State. Again, defensively, that's not their calling card, but they're making life difficult for Wake Forest.
And that's what they want you to do, is play fast and play at their pace. That's something Coach Wyckoff talks about often. I'm not sure how many times she could have said, play at our pace, play at our pace, play at our pace. And that means on both ends of the floor, intense defense and getting out in transition.
This first half, I guess it's par for the course for Florida State. It has gone by in the blink of an eye. Final minute of this first half now. Nice play underneath. It's Hinds really keeping Wake Forest within touching distance. She's got 8 points now. She was the author of their 10-0 run almost by herself.
And what you said there is key, within touching distance, because they can put up points in a hurry if they need to.
That foul goes against Florida State. It's been routine for them to be putting up 50 in the first half of games as well. Topped 100 last game against Boston College. It was their 600-point game of the season. That's a program record. We'll have one more possession at least here in this first half to try to get over 50 again. Williams, no good. Hinds the board up strong. Really strong half for Demeara Hinds, who's now in double figures. Shot clock turns off and Florida State can hold on to it.
I like her game. I like how tough she plays in that.
Gordon, 11 points. Latson has a dozen of her own. Latson sneaks it through for Treadwell, and Avery Treadwell gets her first bucket of the day. It is 51-31, all Florida State at halftime.
You saw it right there. That's all.
Times already this year, including last game against Boston College. They were humming along in that first half, and Latson tries to pick up where she left off. Williams gets the miss, back out to Bowles, and gets it to Ball.
Oh, 25 feet out there for Bulls. And we talk about shot selection. They shot 54% in that first half because everyone shoots their shot. Just like Bulls, she has green light from long range.
They have a 3 counter in the stands here. And they've taped up 8 of those number 3s up on the railing. I don't think their work is done yet today, the fans. Gordon coast to coast lays it in.
No one can keep up with her. She is so explosive in that open court.
I mentioned that 3 counter. They've hit at least 10 threes in a game 11 times this season, including a single game program record of 18 against Miami. Williams hesitates. Conley, 10 to shoot. Williams starts her move. Williams contested by Timpson, no good. Latson, the lane is open anytime they want it down the floor. There's just no stopping them.
Yeah, that's something Wake Forest will have to change, is picking up ball in the open court.
Hinds feasted down low in the first half at 10 points. Latson, will she go again? No, this time kicks it out for Williams. Williams tried to give it right back to Latson. We have 2-on-1 here if Wake Forest hurries. Sorby all alone and misses. Oh, that's the afternoon or evening now in a nutshell for Wake Forest. Hinds called for the foul underneath. It's her second.
And this is one of the first open fast breaks that Wake Forest has been able to have. Just gonna want that one back. Now they have to set up on the defensive end.
25-point game here. Another quick run to start this second half for Florida State. Latson Rises and misses. Sorby, just nowhere to go really underneath, kicks it out. Conley is fouled. Just anywhere they turn when they drive Wake Forest, they just keep running into either Williams or Timpson.
And Florida State, that is their system, is that they're always going to be in help. So you might see the players flying by each other there, and everyone's in a rotation, but that is by design, being able to help speed up Wake Forest on the offensive side.
Speed him up here on the inbound. He's getting close to a 5-second violation and thrown away.
Yeah, just right there. They're in the passing lanes, they're in their shorts, and just making them make ill-advised passes there.
Megan Jebiep in charge of this Wake Forest team. A couple of seasons at the helm now, taking over after her time at American University. 8 seasons there, trying to build something here at Wake Forest. They feel like they're on the cusp. They are very excited about the players they have coming in. It's going to bring a different dimension of size to this team. They will be losing 5 seniors this year. She's really excited and was very candid in chatting with us before this game about that. Very excited about what's to come, even though they are where they are now. They're tired of the moral victories, though. They want to start picking up some actual victories in her own words. It's going to be a difficult one to come back from in this one, of course. And you've got Timpson heading to the line.
A defensive rebound leads to an open, fast break. And Timpson, she's so athletic and run 94 feet, rim to rim runner right there. Always has her hands up. Great hands, able to catch that ball, running in transition.
First team All ACC last year, might be on her way to that again.
Thing she credits in the offseason is this defensive scheme, but also getting in the gym, working on her jumpers. She really wanted to elevate her game because this is going into a WNBA draft year for her.
Could be for Latson as well. Time will tell. She's eligible to leave early if she would like to. Expectation would be she'd be a first-round pick if she leaves, though there's another school of thought as you look way ahead to 2026 mock drafts. She's pretty much at the top 3 or top 5 in all of those 2026 ones, so she's going to have a decision to make whether she goes this year or waits one more.
We know what Coach Wyckoff would like to do, but there's still a lot left written here in NCAA play for her.
Latson on the deck here, trying to wrestle it back. Williams comes away. Turkoff fakes, drops the dime underneath. Another extra pass here, and Hinds knocks it down.
A couple of unselfish passes there for Wake Forest, but again, they get a high percentage shot under the basket, and that's how they can continue to try to get some points on the board.
14 points, 8 boards for Hinds in this one. Also on double-double watch the other way now for Timpson. Has Bowles, just continues to knock things down. On the day, Sydney Bowles is 4 of 6 from beyond the arc.
Well, talking to the coaching staff ahead of time, it's shoot-around for Florida State. They say she's an X factor of how she plays the game because she can really space out the floor with those long threes.
Back inside for Elise Williams, now with 8.
And Williams has had a quiet game. She's the leading scorer for Wake Forest, so good to see her getting towards the rim.
Latson for Timpson. Timpson just pulls up on the mismatch and drains it.
That's when you see all that work in the offseason really pay off. Instead of always having her back to the basket, she can really turn around, be able to see if she wants to go for the jumper or off the dribble.
I mentioned she's on double-double watch. She has her first double. That gives her 10 points. She has 8 boards. Hinds, Timpson contesting and blocks it. Latson, block at one end, dishes to the corner for 3. Villegas in and out. Rebound, Williams, no good. Left it short. And Hinds secures it. Hinds about to secure a double-double of her own with 14 and 9.
Check this out. Bowles just measures that up. That's off the dribble. That is a tough play. That's in the middle of the offense. And another tough play is when you just square your shoulders. But that's something that Timpson has been working on, trying to get her range a little bit further out. She doesn't shoot that many threes, but that mid-range game is one she wants to have that nice touch on.
Talked about it in the first half for Timpson, making her climb up the all-time scoring list. Entered the top 10 in the first half. Now she's on 10 points today. Her next bucket will get her up to 8th in program history. And if she really goes off in the second half and gets to 21, she'll end the day in 7th. But something tells me she'll get to 7th and beyond before this season ends, even if it's not today. Halfway through this third quarter. Lead just continuing to grow here for Florida State. Gordon will have a chance from the line to add 2 more, just a handful to deal with whenever she drives. And that'll bring us to our first break in the action here in this third quarter. We'll take a look at some ACC bracketology with Charlie Cream when we come back. About the upward mobility, that's what stands out the most for this Florida State team. There you see all the seeds of the 9 teams for Charlie Cream in the ACC. Florida State has a bevy of opportunities coming up to prove they should be on the 4, the 5, or the 6 maybe. And if they keep playing like this, they very well might get there. The only problem has been so far, only 1 win over a ranked team for Florida State.
And a couple of opportunities, like you mentioned there, but at home. NC State coming up at home, Louisville at home. So, and they're playing their best basketball. And we're seeing it here today, how well they play as a team and share the ball.
In a way, almost a forgotten sleeping giant. I don't know how much you can feed into that when you're the leading scoring team in the nation, with the nation's leading scorer in Latson, but it almost just feels that way, that they haven't hit that higher gear until now, and now the schedule is in front of them to have shots keep dropping like that for OMG.
Right, and we talk about their offense so much, but where it really made a difference in this game has been the defensive end, how they played as a team. But not on that play, nice backdoor by Wake Forest.
Turkoff gets it to fall. It was briefly a 30-point lead, the largest of the day for Florida State. Williams, no good. Brought down by Andrews. After setting career highs in 3 straight games, Turkoff cooling off today. Just 7 points, and Coach Gebbia mentioned that cool down was coming at some point. It's human nature for a player just in her sophomore season. Just a matter of how she responds from that dip. So she was less concerned about the dip that we're seeing so far today. Still plenty of time to get that number up. But if it turns out to be the dip day today in the scoring for Turkoff, how does she respond next game? That's the key.
You know, it's key, but she's a player that always has the scoring mindset. I love what Coach Gebbia said about her, is that she's always open. That's what she thinks. She's always open. She's somebody who put up over 2,400 points in high school. Her dad was her high school coach. So been in the gym and always has elevated her play. So, you know, bouncing back from maybe an off game, she just got to shoot. That's the key.
Andrews knocks it down, and she's got to shoot. She's also got to be patient. That was the other thing that coach had mentioned. Patience not her strong suit necessarily, Turkoff, and it's just a matter of being a young player. Sometimes coming down and taking that 3, 7 seconds into a shot clock, where maybe she could have kicked it around a couple of times and gotten it back for a more open look. She's not patient enough at times as we get a jump ball here.
And you mentioned the patience there for Wake Forest, and Coach Gebbia is known for throughout her career is being very big on analytics. She has 2 coaches that go through every single spot on the floor. So sometimes the analytics mean the shot selection, where it's at on the floor, but also the timing of that. And you mentioned about Turkoff being a sophomore. She's really learning the system here, the offensive system, the analytics, and how to find your best kill spot there.
And the winningest first season for a head coach, Gebbia at Wake Forest. A little bit of a dip last year. Now this year starting to find their way in some of these tight games. Andrews just smothered on the baseline. And we had a foul call underneath.
Well, let's check this out. This is Florida State to a T. It's called SOS defense, something Coach Wyckoff put in this fall, and it's brand new for the Florida State system. What they want to do is help, always be in help. You're going to double team right here, try to double team the corners, but get people to play fast. And that's what the Seminoles have had success so far doing this year.
And in doing that, it's speeding teams up, which is playing into their hands offensively, which is that fast transitional game. So the defense to help the offense by creating more possessions, because you want the ball in the hands of players like this. Timpson and Latson connecting again.
That's right. They have that mojo on the offensive end where they play it fast in those first 10 seconds. They wanted to keep that intensity and then add attack mode up. But it's all about this SOS, and you'll see it here where people drive into the lane. There'll be two people helping on a ball screen.
That was the other big checkpoint there for Timpson, and got her to 12 points on the day. She's now 8th in program history. Again, we mentioned she could climb a few spots today. Checked off 10th, 9th, and now 8th. She needs 9 more points today to get into 7th.
I love this tracker, the little tracker, and how you keep bumping up, and you know she's just going to keep blowing that up throughout the ACC play.
Foul underneath against Williams. Lead right now 26 for Florida State. They just show no signs of letting up. Wake Forest had that run back in the second quarter, that 10-0 run to cut it back to 5 points. Ever since then, Florida State has just completely run away.
Yeah, that halftime break, they were up. Florida State was up 5, but just really turned up the intensity. Defensively came out and hit some big shots. Shared the basketball. I mean, you couldn't have drawn up a better third quarter here for the Seminoles.
They were down 21, Wake Forest, last game in the fourth quarter against NC State. Brought it down to a 5-point game, so they're not going to show any signs of letting up. They're not going to give in. Team that is, again, just building towards something more in the future, laying the foundation here for Coach Demeara. Turkoff, 2 more. We talked about it earlier. During that game against NC State, nobody really realized how close they'd come until Coach Demeara looked up and they were down by just 5. So they'll just slowly chip away, but Latson just continues to have that counterpunch.
Yeah, and one of those things Coach Demeara talks about is how you can play free. Sometimes when you're down, they look up, and that's what they need right here going into the end of the third quarter and into the fourth.
Their top dogs, Wake Forest, have been producing today. Elise Williams with 10, Demeara Hinds with 14. 10 to shoot, under a minute to go here in the third quarter. Hinds left alone, takes it to the corner for Williams, 3 to shoot. Williams drives, puts it up, swatted away by Timpson.
Right there, defense by Timpson. She's always ready to be in help, and that's how she's gotten more blocks this year than last year.
Latson, she was fouled underneath, glancing over at the referee. That was the 3rd block of the day on the other end for Timpson, and now Latson called for the foul.
That's tough. That's just a frustration foul right there. She wished she had that one on the other end, and that's what she does immediately after trying to take it into the rim, is try to pick up full court, see if she can pick the pocket.
Still down here after that foul. Miss Williams looks like she's all right just tying that shoe. With a brief moment of concern, everybody came around her, just waiting for her to finish the loop-de-loop and get back to her feet, helped up by Hinds.
When she had that ankle injury a couple of games ago where she had to sit out and she wasn't wearing ankle braces, and now that you see, she's like, oh yeah, I'm wearing them now from now on. So you see her with the ankle braces. She's like, it was one of the worst roles she's had as a basketball player. Had to miss a couple of games for Wake Forest.
Elise Williams at the line. And misses. We have an ACC Network men's basketball triple header on Wednesday. We're looking ahead to next Wednesday's doubleheader, though, featuring number 2 Duke. Starts with Stanford and Georgia Tech at 7 Eastern. Then Cooper Flag and the Blue Devils host Andre Stojakovic and Cal at Cameron Indoor. Tie up. Possession arrow stays with Florida State.
I like that play by Wake Forest after a made free throw, being able to set up their defense around a little half-court trap.
3-second differential here between the game clock and the shot clock. And it looks like Florida State wants to bleed it down as much as they can regardless. Working into a set, Brooke Wyckoff calling it out. Gordon now with 10, has to make her move. Gordon has to go around the screen. It's Timpson from 3. Timpson no good. That's not her strong suit. 3 seconds. Williams up across half court, and they won't get a shot off. It'll be a 26-point lead for Florida State going into the fourth. They picked up right where they left off here in this third quarter.
You know, this is Florida State hoops, what they do.
the limit last game by Wake Forest. So Noles have taken care of business so far, but cannot get caught napping because it was the fourth quarter last game where Wake Forest made that comeback. A program record 34 points in the fourth quarter. We'll see if they can duplicate it today.
And Coach Demeara talked about that for Wake Forest, as they're still trying to put together those four quarters, 40 minutes of basketball, but they can get on fire in a quick minute.
Oh, up top to Hinds. Williams, double teamed. Williams just gave it away to Timpson. Gordon running. Three for Bowles. She's been hot today and stays hot. Sydney Bowles is 5 of 7 from deep. She leads all scorers with 20.
A little muscle shake, and you got another 3 sign up here for Florida State. She's had so many of them. Excellent shot by Bowles.
Just a green light for Bowles in this one. A transfer from Texas A&M where she saw her role slashed from freshman year after she was all SEC freshman year to then a more diminished role as a sophomore. Transferred here to Florida State and has been essential to them over the last few games. It's her 6th straight start over those previous 5 games, averaging almost 12 points per game.
And an X factor here for the Seminoles. When she got those starts, she really showed up, and that's what you want as a coach, is you're like, hey, I'm giving you the opportunity, you got the starting lineup, and she's been filling it up ever since then.
Expect to see more from her in this one. She's open on the wing. She was calling for it. Gordon took it herself. And it'll stay down here for Florida State. Not a career high yet for Sydney Bowles. Had 22 in a game against Vanderbilt when she was at Texas A&M, so her next bucket could get her to that career high. Gordon calling for a Timpson screen. 5 to shoot. A rare late shot clock here. Timpson corrals it, fumbles it down low.
One of the rare few turnovers by Florida State so far.
Unmarked at the other end for an easy lay-in by Reagan Conley.
We haven't seen very many of that. Very many plays where Florida State turns it over and Wake Forest gets the open lay-in.
Valenzuela hands it off to Gordon. Gordon, floater, no good. Dos Santos is battling for it. Now Latson has gone over to the bench for Florida State. 14 points for her on the bench. Timpson has 12, Bowles has 20, Gordon has 17. So it's 4 players in double figures. Villegas has 9, and it's significant as she comes back on the court now, Villegas. She gets another bucket and gets to double figures. Be 6 times this season they have 5 players in double figures. Yes, it's Latson, the nation's leading scorer, but they get this supporting cast involved as well. That's why they're the nation's leading scoring team.
That's right, and you talk about the Charlie Cream, bracketology and how Florida State's on the upward trend. And that's because we know about Latson, we know about Timpson, but there are so many players available for scoring for the Seminoles.
25-point lead as Latson comes back in. Awkward pass for Valenzuela to handle. Back to Latson. Latson looking underneath. Treadwell fouled. Treadwell flashed at times as a freshman. Has seen her minutes double as a sophomore now. And a foul before the ball was inbounded. Treadwell trying to shake free. Held on to. Coles and Treadwell battling again. Treadwell gets it in, lays it off to Bowles. Why not from the corner? Finally, it seems like one rim's out for Bowles. Dangerous pass up the floor and travel.
A little congested, trying to thread the needle through the fast break.
A rare drought here for Florida State. 2 minutes, 13 seconds since their last bucket. Villegas thought about it. We've seen that quick release. Latson Valenzuela back to Latson. Latson pulls up, left it short. Treadwell dribble it off his shoe in there. Under 7 to play. Williams gonna start putting up some threes now if they're gonna have the same sort of comeback they had last game in the fourth quarter. Wake Forest. Latson fouled on the floor.
She's just so dangerous whenever she gets the ball in the open court. Her eyes are up. She's always feeling where the defenders are at, sizing up the spacing. That's just always dangerous as a point guard, being able to read that space and knowing if you can attack, you need to stop and pop. Love her game.
Latson showing the drive here, and she'll head to the line looking for a three-point play. She can shoot it from deep. She can muscle you off inside. The only thing that they want to see more of is that mid-range game, but a nearly complete player already.
Yeah, and you see it right here. You know, I mentioned it in the open court, but it's about reading that spacing, the physicality right there, seeing if you can get a few more inches to get that jumper off. I don't know, I believe that her mid-range game is there. She can hit that from 15, 16 feet. It's just that she can get that first step and get downhill, get those easy looks closer to the rim.
She's shooting almost 50% from the floor on the season, 46 from beyond the arc, 81 from the free throw line. She puts it up, it's usually going down.
Yeah, those are astonishing numbers and percentages for someone who leads the nation in scoring.
A junior, but she'll be draft eligible this year. Latson again driving. And again, we'll head to the line. Gives Latson 18. Our next gymnastics meet right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app is next Sunday afternoon as 22-ranked Clemson squares off against 23rd-ranked North Carolina at Carmichael Arena in Chapel Hill. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern. Almost said Chapel Bill now. The whole Bill Belichick thing is just ingrained in my memory now.
That's right. All the memes.
Been seeing that everywhere this week.
It'll be fun to watch here in the ACC.
Latson has consistently been scoring 20 or more in ACC play. She's on 19 right now. 8 of the 9 matchups. Bowls, why not? It's back-to-back that she's missed now. I think the heat check is passed.
It's passed, but that step back, Jay, if that was going down.
With 5 to go, Latson needs one more bucket to make it 9 out of 10 games in ACC play where she scored 20 or more. Just dominant. The nation's leading scorer fading away. And it's good for Reagan Conley. Conley now with 10 for Wake Forest. They quietly have 3 players of their own in double figures, Conley, Williams, and Hinds. Valenzuela lets it fly and connects.
How about that? That's what you call easy offense. Just spotting up, nice little pass from Latson.
So many different players who can pull up great complementary pieces for this team. Count them up over there on the railing. It has been a busy day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 threes for Florida State in this one. They're up 27 to bring you to the conclusion when we return here in Tallahassee. Games this season for Florida State, but now she started 6 in a row. This is why she can heat up, and she's got 20 today.
Well, Coach Wyckoff saw what she was doing and the impact she could make in practice because she can do it offensively and she fits perfect for the defensive system. But being able to light it up, so much attention goes to Latson, Gordon, and Timpson, and that 4th player that could really bring it on big time for Bulls.
That 4th player can be anybody. Some days it's Villegas, who also hit her first 3 threes today. Villegas, after that, went quiet, only took 1 more shot, but nailed the first 3, don't forget.
And that's right, in ACC play, you need 5, 6, 7, 8 players that any point in time they can get on and get double figures for you.
There's Latson. We'll head to the free throw line. If she sinks 1, she keeps her scoring ways alive of getting over 20. It would be 9 out of 10 games in ACC play where she drops 20 or more. Cindy Bowles will take a seat, replaced by Turnage. for Latson. 20 points on the day to go with 5 assists. 9 out of 10 games in ACC play, she's dropped 20 or more. The nation's leading scorer, averaging 26.2 points per game. And to be fair to Latson, as she sinks to second, it's really over 27 she's averaging per game. She had that one game she was limited to just 10 minutes. It was her only single-digit scoring performance. She dropped 8. She plays that whole game, I think she's probably up around 27. So if you take out that outlier, as here she goes again, Latson 2 more.
She just streaks up the floor. And I love reading and hearing about Latson because she's just a student of the game, watches film all the time, always wants to try to keep getting better.
Stepping inside the three-point line, Andrews. Now we're on a 100-point watch at 88 for Florida State. They've topped it 6 times this year. Leads the nation. Still a dozen away. Kicked out to Villegas. That quick release, no good. Hit her first 3, has missed her last 2. Conley, bounce pass, Andrews up, and Andrews good.
You see that Florida State always plays the same way for 40 minutes. They attack, if they have it, great. If not, they get it to a teammate for a better shot. No slowing down.
Doesn't get the roll yet. She hasn't really slowed down at all today. Gordon hasn't slowed down, Latson hasn't slowed down. It's that 3-headed monster of those 3. And if you take it a step further, they really have a 3-headed monster of supporting cast now between Bowles and Villegas and Williams. It's just such a deep team. You're going to see the strength of it coming down the stretch here with all these home games they have coming up in conference play.
I think that's one of the things that, the nation's going to start to notice when they watch Florida State is that, wow, it's not just about Latson, who leads the nation. It's about the entire team here for the Seminoles.
Back to the Tucker Center in 30. It's a 27-point lead for the Noles. With Ann O'Neill, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have had you with us all evening long on the ACC network. Final 3 minutes here in Tallahassee. Florida State really now just playing against themselves to see if they can get to 100 points again, as they did last game against Boston College. There's 3 more.
It's hard to say who you're most impressed by on this Florida State team. Everyone plays their shot, making big shots out here for the Seminoles.
And they've topped 100 points 6 times this season. Program record, tied for the most 100-point games in the country. A lead in scoring coming into the weekend at 92.3. Well, they're at 91, so they're right on their average. And unless they go cold again for the next 2:30, they're going to top that average again.
And they played 11 players so far for Florida State. Have gotten significant playing time, everyone over 7 or 8 minutes. And they still play that continuous pace, all about attacking.
Turcoff off glass and in. So after setting career highs in 3 straight games, she won't quite get there, Turcoff, coming off the 25-point performance last game. But she's at 11 today, so back in double figures for the sophomore. Latson will head to the line. We talked earlier about players in double figures for Florida State, how they've had 5 such games this year with 5 or more in double figures. I don't know if they're going to get that today. They need that 5th player to emerge. But what they do have is 3 players with 20 or more in this game. 23 for Latson, 20 for Gordon, 20 for Bowles.
That's just remarkable. You have people who can fill it up. I mean, 20-plus points by multiple players. That's just a lot of different offensive weapons out there for Coach Wyckoff.
You would have guessed who 2 of them might have been today, in Latson and Gordon, but the 3rd would have been the surprise. If you had to guess, you would have said Timpson, but it's Bowles who steps up today. And Latson will have her final seat of the matchup today. Off to a big ovation from the crowd. Finishes with 25 in this one to go with 2 boards, 5 assists. Andrews drops it back and buried from 3 by Madison Jordan. Cal against Wake Forest. You wonder where these teams go from here. Florida State will be on the road against Virginia on the 6th of February before returning home for those 2 games you talked about earlier. Home against NC State, home against Louisville. 2 massive opportunities for the Noles. Treadwell knocks down the first. On the other side, Wake Forest is going to stay on the road. They're going to have a week off here before their next game on Sunday on the road against Syracuse. And they're home against Duke and at Georgia Tech. There's a Florida State schedule again, all coming up here this month. And it's the NC State and Louisville matchups that are the big ones as far as it pertains to what Charlie Cream said earlier in that bracketology segment, that potential upward mobility for a team he currently has on the 7 line.
And beginning of February, that's a key, right? That you're starting to really develop those 5th, 6th, 7th players like Florida State is playing great team basketball. Ever since they went out to that West trip for Stanford and Cal, they've really come back and really been playing, you know, great on the team chemistry and camaraderie.
One of the games I mentioned coming up for Wake Forest on the road, Georgia Tech. That's the model for them. It's something we talked to Coach Demeara about pregame today. They look at Georgia Tech, the way they've sort of carved out a role for themselves and built themselves up here in the ACC. They want to be Georgia Tech going forward. So it's interesting that in this upcoming stretch of road games here, it finishes with that game at Georgia Tech for Wake Forest. Sort of the mirror image they're striving for to test their mettle.
Yep, and Georgia Tech ranked 20th right now. Just really got their program where they want to be in the ACC, and that's what Coach Demeara wants for Wake Forest.
Largest lead of the day, 97-66. We've heard some eruptions from this crowd today. The loudest might come over the next minute 15 if they hit 100. The crowd sensed it after that last bucket. Could come here. Gordon brings it up. Hands it off. On the drive. It's going to be a travel. Have to wait at least one more possession as Chavez traveled.
You can feel that excitement that they were trying to get that last bucket.
Do the quick possession math. Maybe 2 more chances. Depends on how quickly Wake Forest goes here. Could be 1. Just have to hit another 3 where they've been hot from 3 today. 13 of 27, shooting almost 50% from 3. A chance at an and 1 here for Sorby. And that's a player who could be special in the coming years here for Wake Forest. Part of that strive to become a Georgia Tech team and carving out that role in the ACC. Interesting comment from Coach Demeara. She said that Aurora Sorby has a sports psychologist, and in talking to that sports psychologist, he said he's only worked with 2 other players who have the mentality that Sorby has, and they're both pros. Just in the gym, relentless working. Whenever something doesn't go her way, she goes right back to working at it. I imagine she'll work free throws after that miss. She's just been a terrific player mentality-wise for the Demon Deacons.
They have to tell her to stay out of the gym, actually, and even in the shoot-around, she was the last one here getting shots up.
Kicked out. Chance here from 3 from Treadwell, no good. That might have been the last chance to get to 100 here for Florida State. Assuming when they get it back now, they will run out the clock. They'll fall just short, but 97, nothing to sneeze at in ACC play. Turkoff. Try to add a little bit more to her total. Gathered by Treadwell, and Florida State will take this one 97-68 over Wake Forest.
Well, the Seminoles really showed what they're all about here. They're all about offense, but they're also all about that SOS defense when you play defense on a string. But wow, so impressed with how they shared the ball. 3 players with over 20 points.
Well, they finally got back into the